Nerd Academy podcast is released weekly at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, available on our website at www.thenerdacademypodcast.com and wherever you listen to podcasts. You can find the Nerd Academy podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. You can also help support the show by going to patreon.com/The Nerd Academy podcast, where every donation allows us to bring you more exciting content every week.
Good morning, class, and welcome back to the Nerd Academy podcast, your source for nerddom news and commentary. And I never thought I'd be saying this, but we are here to review the Snyder Cut. It is here. It is out. It has been released. And Devin is going apeshit in the stream studio, but we're going to bring him in a second. But first, we are joined by our resident Green Lantern and Princess of Themyscira, Travis and Lexi.
The can cracks are back, and the Green Lanterns are not.
No.
But another Greenman.
Another Greenman was in there.
Another one certainly was, and we are going to talk about all of it. But like I said, we got Devin on his first episode on the main show.
Ooh, it feels so good to be here. I don't have a can to crack open, so
That's okay.
I just stick to cracking jokes.
That was good.
I'm sorry. No.
See, you belong here. And we are joined by our friend of the show, the co-host of the ComicBookCast. We got Mitch here to discuss the Snyder Cut.
I don't know if you heard that or not.
I did.
Good.
Good,
Was
good.
it?
That was my water bottle opening. I haven't got a can, so I didn't want to feel left out.
That's all right.
But yeah, how's it going? It's good to be back again for the third time now. I'm thoroughly moving in, I've decided.
You know what? It's only a matter of time until we have a UK campus. So it's sooner's better than later, I guess. Ladies and germs, like I said, we are here to discuss the Snyder Cut. Some of us liked it. Some of us didn't hate it. Some of us thought it was okay. And one of us has come to the point where I am equal parts really like and really dislike. But we will get into that soon. But first, Mitch, as our guest, I'm going to kick to you for your initial opening thoughts on the Snyder Cut.
It's very okay. Considering what I was expecting after Man of Steel and BVS, that's the highest praise I could possibly give it. But a lot of structural problems, or maybe not even problems, some weird choices in how everything was laid out, especially in the first 2 hours. Apart from that, there's some good stuff in there, some bad stuff in there. I feel very much in the middle on it.
All right. You know, you're dealing with a behemoth of a movie when you can say the first 2 hours.
Yeah.
And only still be talking about the first act.
It's the worst part as well. It's so long.
I'm going to kick to our other window. We got a 2-for-1 here. Travis and then Lexi. Initial just opening thoughts on the movie.
You want to go first?
Yeah, because I have a feeling you're going to have an opinion. I'm very lukewarm at best. Lukewarm.
Okay.
There were problems. I still had issues. But I liked it slightly more than the other version. So
nice. That is honestly a better reaction than I was expecting. I'm like 100% honest. I was
C-
really expecting
at best. That's my overall score already right now. Is C- at best. So
valid.
Yeah, I would say it's like percentage-wise a D+, but Zachary came to me after class and asked nicely, so I rounded it to a C-. Yeah, I definitely lampooned the ever-loving shit out of the first 2 hours. I wanted to die. And then around the time everyone got together, I stopped being so harsh on it. And especially, like, the last act was fine. Like the fight at the end was fine. But I found it so hard to just pay attention to it. Like, I got so bored at everything happening.
I started to online shop a little bit as I was.
And I was like,
watching it.
I was falling asleep the whole time. Like, I couldn't, I had to keep changing how I was sitting to stay awake. Now, part of that was because I was really tired and it was late at night, but I feel like it would be the same way. Like, I would just get distracted. And the only negative thing I had seen going in was, like, that the Flash scene was a little much. And I was like, okay, so there's going to be moments in here that I'm like, this didn't need to be here. It can be less than 4 hours long. And then I didn't realize it would be every scene.
I'm just gonna say up top, I agree with you completely. The Big
I didn't
Bang,
need to watch
Barry
Bruce Wayne
Allen.
walk a. I didn't need to watch Bruce Wayne walk a horse for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
He didn't.
Becomes
He only
very
rode
clear
it
how
for
he gets
5
4
seconds. He walked that horse for like 2 minutes, and for all 2 of those minutes, I was just like, nope, I'm gonna hate this. I'm going to loathe this. But yeah, it could have been worse. I didn't end my life afterwards.
That's good.
Better than what Justice League?
That's true. It is a more coherent movie than Joss Whedon's Justice League.
Those are fighting words, huh, Jared?
I don't know. I don't know if they're fighting words. I feel like that's the last topic for the episode. So we'll
Fair enough.
we'll get to that part, but I still have good feelings towards the Joss Whedon version, even though I want to hit him with a shovel. Devin, we need to hear your thoughts because I bared my eyes upon the Snyder cut with you in the studio.
And it was so much fun. I'm glad we got to do that together. Opening thoughts, everything was just so much more. I feel like every single scene was longer, which had pros and cons. Like, there were moments when I was like, Jesus, Zach, can we like move on? Like, I'm thinking there's a 3 hour and 15 version of this movie that's just fine. It's perfectly fine. And but with there being more comes like more action sequences, and I think better action sequences. It was more entertaining in some spots. So, like, wins and losses with Mr. Snyder.
All right. Well, we are going to jump into kind of like our highlight reel for the Snyder Cut. So, like I said, I'm going to keep the same pecking order going here. Mitch, favorite and least favorite moment or scene from this iteration of the movie?
Favorite, I'd have to say it's the Flash bit at the end. The whole Speed Forcey rewinding that explosion. Least favorite, anything with Cyborg that isn't the dream sequence where he walks into the bank.
Really? You didn't care for the Cyborg stuff?
I do not care for that character whatsoever. When people say he's the heart of the movie, I don't understand why. He has no personality whatsoever. Like, I get he's supposed to be, he's depressed, he's down, he's all this, he's all that. You can have a personality and do exactly that.
The way I described it after we finished it last night was that all of the beats for his character, they're like his reason for being sad, his like reason to keep fighting, his acceptance for who he is. Like, those are moments are all there. It's just that none of them feel important or earned.
No, exactly.
Like, we don't see him go from, because like the whole point of seeing himself in the visions in his head is that he goes from being regular person to cyborg, and he's accepting of who he is. But we never see him actually like do that. It's just all of a sudden at the end, he's like, okay, yeah, I'm cyborg now.
Well, that's one of my big things in the movie. There's 2 character arcs out of all these characters we have. Like, Wonder Woman hasn't got an arc. She's the same at the start as she's at the end. Batman doesn't change. Superman doesn't change. He's actually he comes in. He's like, "Oh, cool, I'm alive again. I'm going to go help," and that's his 10 minutes. You know, I think the only person that actually might have not even a legitimate arc, but Aquaman. He has the beats of it, but that's it. You don't actually see the progression through any of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And it's the same with Cyborg,
that's
as you
fair.
said. He's just there.
Yeah, that's fair. And I think what you guys are both saying with like the beats are there. And I enjoyed Ray Fisher's performance. I've said before that like if you put a good enough actor in a shit written role, I will not notice how badly it's written just because I like watching the person work. But
It's just so hard to watch him work because the only like physical part of him that's there is like this part of his face.
Yep.
You know, because like
Mhm.
but the whole movie were just off put entirely by Cyborg's animation. He walks weird because he's supposed to be Mother Box, and they redid how the Mother Box stuff looks. That like he's always kind of flipping and flopping, kind of like Steppenwolf, and he kind of walks like this everywhere, and like it's just like it feels like they didn't finish his walk cycle in half of his scenes.
I will say, I think my favorite moment for Victor is the conversation in the car with his mother, like right before the car accident.
Oh, but
Like-
it gets so on the nose, though.
It does get really
right
on
at the end,
nose.
where it's like, I can't wait to see what you are tomorrow. And then all of a sudden, he's Cyborg. It's like, okay, I get it.
The writing's on the nose, but his performance and the way that like I don't know, there was something that really landed with me in like the way that they're going back and forth and just he turns his face and like you see that he's kind of been crying the whole time, or at the very least, like it like he's just now letting it out. That I liked, and I really liked his performance there. And I feel like, and granted, we're never going to get to see it happen, but I feel like Ray Fisher could have done a lot of growing into this role. And it's kind of on the list of like, damn, I wish we could have gotten more of this. Just because I would have liked to have seen him grow into the character a little bit more. But what you guys are saying, that absolutely makes sense, and I can see what you mean. Travis / Lexi, faves and least faves.
I can't
Scenes.
remember what I would even say is slightly above the rest. Like, I don't know if I have a favorite. I don't think I do. I mean, like, I liked seeing them fight together in this one, I guess. And regardless of stuff with Flash / Ezra Miller, I did kind of like what he was doing at the end when they were going backwards in time. Yeah, I would be the same, I think, with Mitch, that my least favorite is the Cyborg stuff. I just felt so disconnected from him, and I wanted to care. I wanted to feel bad, and yes, they added more about his like backstory, but it didn't feel like enough, I guess. And even though the movie's 4 hours and some change, I think I would have wanted to see
Less weird Scandinavian singing women and more actual story.
Yeah, especially for Cyborg, at least. I just didn't care. Like, his parents died and I didn't care. And he was upset and I didn't really care. And I felt so bad saying that. But, like, I don't know.
Oh, that's fair. And I don't want to broach it just yet, but this is why the movie is 4 hours long, is the singing Scandinavian women sniffing a sweater. And oi, Travis.
I would have gotten a little bit more, less Scandinavian women, more Cyborg, stuff, just to make it a little less disconnected. I would have been okay.
I'm kind of like, I don't even think I have a favorite part. I don't think there's because like none of it stood out. Like there wasn't a single moment that I was like, okay, that was good. Like
I would say, not to interrupt again, but like I would say Wonder Woman stuff if there was more. If there was like
Wonder Woman stuff.
Yeah, if there was a change, but there wasn't, which is fine. But like, if that were a thing, I would say Wonder Woman stuff because I love whatever Wonder Woman does. But instead, I'm not sure.
You got some good Diana action in this. I remember when I was first watching it that there was some there was some bits in her combat. I mean, I like the choreographed. I mean, that was kind of her best moments.
Barely.
Like,
I guess like her with the children. Okay, so I really did like that one part with her calling the little girl princess. I really liked that a lot. So maybe that too. But
I would say my least favorite part was the entire first 2 hours. Because again, I went in thinking like, okay, there's going to be moments where I'm going to hate this because I know it doesn't need to be there. And then it opened with that. Like, even like just the scream, like the yell rippling out. I was like, this is the dumbest shit I've ever seen. And then it was Batman walking a horse. And just like, I couldn't stop making fun of it for 2 hours. And then eventually I calmed down. But like,
it's true. He was making fun of it consistently for 2 hours.
I'm so upset I didn't get to witness that. But I would pay.
Why did Arthur keep putting a shirt back on just to rip it off and jump back in the water? Why?
It's contractually obligated, man.
Why did he? He left at least 2 sips of the whiskey in that bottle and then littered it into the ocean.
Well,
thank you for also catching that. No one's mentioned that.
She caught it.
He stole my joke. So
it's like he downs this entire bottle in seconds, but leaves a bit at the end. Like, what are you doing? Who does that? And then he litters in his own ocean. Like, man, what are you doing? What are you playing at?
He smashes it on the ground. You're like, it didn't go into the ocean. I was like, it will. Just watch the waves. It's going to take the glass. He's littering, but it's fine.
Yeah.
Thanks, Arthur.
Also, I just need to pose this to the group. This terrorist group that Wonder Woman stopped, like, she needed to stop them. It was important. They were going to set Europe back 1,000 years by blowing up 4 city blocks.
Yeah.
I said the same goddamn thing. Thank you.
It doesn't make any sense. There should be dinosaurs in Japan by that logic.
That's going to be the quote of the week on the website. I thought the same thing. That like, and another thing, and granted, like, you know, a little bit of, you know, well, they can do the thing that Marvel did. One of my favorite elements of Captain America and the Winter Soldier is the fact that it opens with that fight with Bartok the Leaper. Because, like, you can't make a movie around Bartok being the villain. You can't. There's not enough to work with. But that trope of opening the movie with a B or C list character just for fun, just as like a fun villain fight.
Mm-hmm.
You could easily do that with the, like, we're going to set back Europe for whatever. Like, it's stupid. Just skip the terrorists and just go into the backlog of bullshit DC villains. Like, at least for me, I would be more entertained by that. And I feel like most audiences would too. Because instead of it being a room full of goons with guns who are going to get their shit rocked by Diana, and there's not even a question of that. And it's too early in the movie for there to be any real tension of her getting hurt.
And there's no, like, their motives don't make any sense because they're like, we're going to set back Europe 1,000 years. We're going to blow up 4 city blocks. That's it. Not release some terrible bio agent. Not, like, sink all of the United Kingdom. We're going to blow up 4 city blocks.
We'll see what that does.
And the other thing is, like,
it'd be catastrophic. We'd recover.
Well, take that a step further. Let's say their plan does make a lick of sense and, like, it's a coordinated terror attack. and there were multiple cells carrying out identical attacks across Europe, Diana stopped one.
Did
Like-
she stop the one though? Because she blows the building up.
Yeah,
She-
she saved everyone.
You have super speed. Just grab the gun. Nope. Bing.
It's like, let me take the roof off and then the front of this building off, and we're cool.
I had that-
Weird.
I had that in my notes because when I did my second watch, I was note taking, and I said, I was like, "Why did you yeet?" Or you could have just like, how many dudes just get pancaked into a wall by her?
Well, he got disintegrated. You only saw the hat.
Yeah, exactly. Like, run him through with your sword. Like, okay, fine. Diana has decided she's going to brutally execute all of these guys. Fine, I'll make that conceit. Why do this? Like, there's so much collateral. Like, you blew the building up too, like you said. Anyway,
So yeah,
at least the fight choreography was cool.
Also, all the people in that scene look gray. They look like their skin.
That's
is gray.
just London. That's just London.
Nothing
I
changed.
can confirm that is just London.
That's just how they are.
I love it.
He's like, they even look brighter with Zack Snyder's color grading.
It brightened them up.
They traded color. They took color out of Diana's costume and put it into the people. But yeah, I think that covers my favorite and least favorite bits.
All right. Devin.
Least favorite bit, the Iris West Flash moment. I was confused. I was uncomfortable. I was just eager for that moment to fucking end. And that and just the single line of reach around. Hated that. Can't do it.
During the Flash scene, as he's looking up and he like looks at the hot dogs, I was like, take a bite of the hot dog.
I thought he was going to put it in her mouth. That's what I thought he was going to do. He was going to pick up the hot tub and just like push it against her lips, and I was going to throw up like on the spot.
I was like, take a bite of the hot dog, and he took it, put it in his pocket. I was like, even better. Yeah, take all the hot dogs.
Travis was.
That was the first time I laughed in that scene.
I was gonna buy hot dogs and have one in my pocket.
We forgot. We were at Walmart and we forgot. Dang it.
Damn.
Ah.
But what I really loved was right before they brought Soups back, and it was like that vision of the future of like Wonder Woman on like her grave, and like, you know, Ferryman coins over the eyes, and then like Superman holding presumably Lois, and Darkseid's just like, you're gonna tear shit up for me. Like, that was like, I got really excited about that, and then like just supremely let down a couple hours later. But whatever.
Piggybacking off of that, Devin, Travis, I was going so apeshit during Cyborg's like premonition, because I was like, Travis is right. I like, when we were watching it, I just out loud kept screaming, Travis is right, Travis is right, Travis is right, while Barry was running, because I was like, it's about to happen. Oh my God, he no-scoped it. Holy shit. You were right. You were half right. You deserve half credit. Just because Barry rewinds.
I got minorly spoiled that I was wrong, because my supervisor at work and I told him about my theory too. And he came in, we saw each other yesterday, and he was like, did you see it yet? And I was like, no, I'm only like an hour of the way in. And he goes, oh man, I liked your version better. So I was like, okay, so I know that like that fully doesn't happen. But when that was happening, I was like, oh, maybe they're seeing visions because like the Flash tripped. Like he actually, like,
which he does a lot in this movie.
Well, I thought maybe he like slipped into another timeline and slipped back out at first. I didn't realize that the mother boxes were showing Cyborg that. But
I don't get why Batman has all the visions too. Like, why does everyone have visions?
I think Bruce's are just like fragment memories of an already fixed timeline. Is what it's supposed to be.
That makes sense.
I like that.
Because
like that a lot.
In Flashpoint, Barry slowly forgets things from his previous time, like the things that happened to him in the old timeline. He's like over the course of the story, he's like losing touch with that, and that's how he knows he has to fix it again. So I think that's what's happening, is that like we're seeing the full version. Like again, there was supposed to be more movies, so they were going to end up in the whack timeline. But maybe he's seeing the fragments of like what is to come, as in what's already been fixed.
I like that. I mean, part of me likes that a lot because I hate the idea that after everything that's happened and after all the lives that have been saved and after the fact that it looks like Bruce and Clark are finally building a friendship, that we're still hurtling towards injustice. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So I like that a lot because
Well,
it does a lot of heavy lifting.
I think whatever the turning moment is hadn't happened yet. Like whatever the moment that needed to be fixed was,
Yeah, I
hadn't
agree.
taken place yet. So who knows?
It's
Is
interesting.
Lois pregnant? Well, we can find out.
I actually think she is, because so when I literally, like right before we set up, I finished watching it for the second time. During the Bruce, how'd you convince the bank to give the house back? Well, I bought the bank conversation. As they're walking to the house, Bruce throws his arm around Clark's shoulder and looks at him and says, "Oh, and by the way, congratulations." I didn't hear that the first time we watched
I
it.
didn't fucking hear that. Are you serious?
No, did I?
He goes, "Oh, by the way, congratulations," and then they cut away from the Kent farm.
Right, well, that
Lois is
doesn't make
pregnant.
sense then. Because this is a year after Justice or BVS when he dies.
Yeah,
I also was constantly asking if anyone knew what the timeline was here. Like, how long has it been since Clark died?
So
That's what I
it's a
needed to answer.
throwaway line about 2.5 hours in, I think, and that's it. There's no mention of any timeline, dates, whatever, apart from that one line.
Well, then, yeah, it doesn't work for me.
unless
Lois
and
is
to be
having an
charitable,
affair.
unless to be very charitable, because it's still a continuity error. They're like just saying a year is like they're rounding up, but like still, I feel like I don't like. It feels weird for Bruce to just be like, "Congratulations on being alive again." Like, I don't know. I feel it has to be. Am I crazy, or am I like? They have to be implying that he knows that Lois is pregnant.
How would he?
Well, that was the whole plot, wasn't it, of what he was going for? That Bruce and Lois have the kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's clearly that's what he was trying to do without actually showing any of the establishing bit, which is kind of in line for Snyder.
Well, we do know from past experience he really hates showing people having a functioning relationship because we don't see any of Clark and Lois's. So, for all we know, it could have happened.
Yeah, there's a part of me that, like, since we're catapulting towards an evil Superman story, the idea that they're borrowing that conversation they have in Injustice, where Bruce knows Lois is pregnant before Clark tells him, just because Batman type stuff, and like that's like a heartfelt moment they have, that like we're getting a tease of it, because like we're never going to see it in its like full actualized version, that it's the, "Oh, by the way, I figured it out, she's pregnant, I'm so happy for you." And again, if we're going towards evil Superman and we see that like Superman has an army and it looks like the regime from Injustice, and we get Joker at the end of this, my lizard brain starts to go, evil Superman is an Injustice situation where the Joker is the one who causes it in some way, because the Joker's talking mad shit in the nightmare scene. And the way he's like, "Oh, and the way that Lois suffered." And it's like, I feel like he knows because he did it.
I wouldn't be surprised,
Yeah.
to be honest. Wouldn't be surprised.
But also in the storyboards, wasn't it an Omega Beam that killed her?
It looks like whenever he's like holding her body in like the black suit, it looks like she's like steaming.
Listen,
Yeah.
which
Like-
could have been. Yeah, I don't know. Doesn't matter. We'll
Yeah,
never see it. I don't
true.
want to see it.
Fair.
Now that I've said that out loud, we're going to get an announcement in like a week.
HBO Max exclusive.
Warner Brothers greenlights Justice League 2, directed by Zack Snyder for HBO Max.
That'll be a fast turnaround because just today, a few hours ago, they said no more.
Can only
I'm
okay with that.
I'm okay with no more. I kind of want like I would not mind like a sequel comic. I would not mind them like continuing the story and like we will wrap this up for the people who are hardcore enough to like give enough of a shit to read it. Just because there's a lot here that's like left on the field that I'm curious about.
I feel like Zach would do that.
Honestly, make it the next 2 or 3 DC animated movies. You're doing them anyway. It's virtually in line with how they've been going, so just make it that. They do those in the cheap. Why not?
That's fair too. Devin, you have anything else on least favorite scene?
Oh, fuck Martian Manhunter. That's it. Yep. Tidy little bow.
I'm inclined to agree with you in part on that. The very loud groan that happened in here that I'm sure happened with you too. I least favorite, it is honestly a tie between the Iris West stuff, which is just so abhorrently bad. Or not even necessarily only the Iris stuff, but like I said, Big Bang Barry Allen going into the pet store. Like it was just so aggressively unfunny. Resume. There's like the pocket monster. Ain't the thing. Like, it's just stop. This isn't funny. Like, this does not even read even a little bit like Barry's humor. Like, even CW Barry Allen with Grant Gustin. It is a far cry from him just being like, just like a fun kind of quirky dude where it's like, oh, I'm quirky. Like it's a hop, skip, and a jump away from him having a mustache tattooed on his finger type shit. And it made me want to eat a bullet. So there's that. I also think that the entire that beautiful conversation that Martha and Lois have is completely cut off at the knees.
Yep.
By the reveal that it is General Standish / Martian Manhunter. Like, I don't understand why they had to make that Manhunter. I like it that would have made so much more sense for it to just be Ma Kent. There's no point to it.
Even just to show that they're in contact, so it makes sense when she shows up at the farm later. Because how does she know to go back to the farm? Like when Clark and Lois are there right after he's brought back, she is not told, as far as we know in any way, that they're there. She just shows up.
Yeah, it just ruined that scene for me. It was such a good moment. I think hands down Amy Adams' best moment is Lois. And I think it might even be Diane Keaton's best Ma Kent scene. And then it is just right at the knees once he starts to turn green. And I hated it so much.
Yeah.
It's like, think about Manhunter's motive. Why? Why are you doing this? Because Lois needs to get back to work? Like...
because she needs that kick in the pants to be there for plot. So
John's he's like, I missed your articles. Like, you're super good. Let me turn into your dead fiance's
almost mother-in-law.
Yeah. I don't know. Jared, what'd you like about the movie?
I was going to say, I know Lexi was about to weigh in on that as well.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just saying that, like, I don't care for Amy Adams as Lois. And this almost made me like it a little bit more. And then, like you said, right at the knees. So
consider them knees harvested.
Favorite moments. I feel like this is, kind of broad consensus that Flash rewriting the timeline and doing his Speed Force bit, that was just really cool. It was, again, it's the kind of comic book bullshit that I did not expect to see Snyder lean into. Like, I was really, really surprised by it. I was surprised by how beautifully it was just shot and framed. To the point where in all the Barry's running scenes, even though he still has that goofy ass floppy shit going on, the way it's shot makes it feel more like he's bouncing forward, and that's not just like his normal stride. So like even that like was less goofy for me by a little bit. I was so surprised by this movie after everything we got in Batman v Superman to see a hopeful Batman. Like, I can almost, not quite, almost forgive the murder to see that it was building towards Bruce finding his humanity again. And the way that he's so like fervent, like, we can do this. It's, faith, Alfred, while he's walking onto the aircraft carrier. Like, that's beautiful. I love the way that he gets like, he's a team player. And that moment where I think it's like the first time he's felt proud of his work as Batman in a long time, when he's getting ready to like try to lure the parademons away. And he says, don't come after me. You're here to do what you have to do. That's why I brought you together. And like, he has them over, like he feels like it's the first time he's ever been proud of what he's doing.
I think also this is a more morbid take on it. I think he's also just accepting that if they lose, they're going to die anyway. So there's no point in like being a brooding son of a bitch anymore, that he's just like, I'm just going to have fun with these wacky metahuman people.
Yeah, I think there's truth to that too. I think that like it was Bruce having his like found family in a trial by combat means a lot to him. And even though we trade hopeful Batman for remorseful Batman that we get in Justice League, Devin and I, we talked about this in the review for the theatrical cut, that like a lot of it feels like Bruce is prepared to trade his life for what he did to Clark. And that read of a Batman who sees what he did as wrong and thinks the only way he can do it is through like a retributive eye for an eye, but he's offering his own kind of way. I don't know which Batman arc I like more, but I did really, really enjoy Bruce in this. And in those tiny moments, the ethereal chanting aside, the fight in Themyscira is really good. Like, that was just really entertaining to watch.
Mm-hmm.
It's another thing I noted that I really like. I made fun of Steppenwolf's like Snyder cut appearance, right? Because it felt so like it's so spiky and it just looks so over the top. Seeing it in motion and seeing how it's meant for like the armor to be living, and that it's reflexive and that he's in control of like where it's dense, where it's taking damage, and how, like he just kind of like flexes the arrows out of the bodysuit. I loved that moment. I really did enjoy the Themyscira fight. And the really gross and unnecessary reach around joke aside, I did really love the Nightmare epilogue. I've defended Jared Leto's Joker before, and I'm going to do it again. Him and Affleck had great chemistry. And Affleck saves that scene from something that wasn't even Leto's fault with that line.
Affleck made me laugh. Like,
Was
out
it the
loud.
word?
It's not even the fact that he said it. It's that he delivers it like it's a comedic line.
It sounded like he was making a joke.
That when I kill you, and I'm gonna fucking kill you. It sounds like he's delivering it comedically. And I couldn't help and now to be fair, it got a genuine laugh out of me after I went, ugh, at the reach around line, which again, Zachary, why do you have this obsession with Batman doing things? Why? It's not good.
You know, this whole movie where I was like, this feels so much like a Zack Snyder movie. And I went the whole time going, and you know what? At no point did it get weirdly problematic like every other one. I'm like, he dodged the bullet. Who's going to give you a reach around? Fuck it, never mind. Like, throw your hands up.
You say that, but every Amazon scene has an upskirt shot. There's the whole
True.
Barry stroking Iris's face when I would assume Iris would have just exploded going at that speed, touching somewhere like that. The reach around line is what it is. It just got an eye roll out of me. You know, something else as well, and I can't remember what it was. So it's probably not that problematic if I can't remember it. But
yeah, I meant like problematic, not in the way that it's like shot and composed, like an explicit like line of dialogue that is just inherently gross.
Like, it had me thinking about, like, oh shit, like, is Batman fucking Joker? And then I was like, oh no, Zack Snyder's just weird. Like, it's okay. I don't have to think about this
He's just
anymore.
a strange man.
That's the thing. Like, I understand and I enjoy the Batman and Joker have this weird relationship where, you know, you can interpret it as they're in love, not necessarily romantically or sexually, but like there's an obsession the other one has with the other that keeps the other one keeping their counterpart alive. But the fact that it went like right to that I'm 15 years old and I'm edgy place with the reach around thing, like it took all the wind out of that scene, and Ben Affleck saved it. Like he 100% saved that scene for me, at least. Like I checked out. I was like, Jared Leto's doing great. And again, this is on the writing. Maybe he improv'd it and they left it in. It's Jared Leto, who fucking knows. But I was like, the worst part about that scene is something Leto says, and I can't even blame him for it because I don't know if it was him or not. But that might be my favorite. Like just their interaction, I enjoyed, and I'm glad we got to see them share a screen one time before it's all over.
Which is funny because they weren't actually in the same room together.
Oh yeah, there's no way that was actually shot with them side by side.
It's clearly shot that they're not actually there, and then they forget to focus on Leto's face for about 5 minutes, which is odd.
I hated that whole scene, dude. I didn't like it. Like, they're hiding under the car. They're saying, like, we have a plan. We need to hurry. And then they decide to make a truce. And then he just decides to go on, like, a tangent about all the people that Bruce has loved. And the whole time, Cyborg's got to stick up his ass because, like, his sensors are picking up that, like, Superman's looking for them. And he's just like, I don't know, like, should I interrupt them? Probably not, because, like, the fans want to see it. And
why did he have a minigun? Why is the most
what's that thing gonna
weapon
do,
in the universe holding a minigun?
Flash doesn't have a single line of dialogue, and like Deathstroke had 2 lines of dialogue. I'm just like, okay, cool. Like they're gonna skip right past this talking bullshit, and like we're gonna see some stuff. And then they just kept talking and kept talking, and he just shows up.
Mara's lines too in that scene.
I didn't like Mara at all.
With a fake British accent.
Put this through his heart. What he did to Arthur, and I'm just like. I'm like, Arthur probably offered himself up to Clark after like the shit you've been putting him through.
He sounded so dumb to me. Like she just sounded dumb. And fuck Amber Heard. But like, I don't know.
That's what I meant.
Yeah,
like, Momoa was pleading for death after their relationship. But
I don't like Mara. Also, So then, like, where'd her red hair go?
That's strawberry blonde because she's not in the water anymore,
Oh.
and the ozone's gone. So like, I don't know, atmospheric changes. I don't know.
Like the entire Aquaman movie, her hair is like fire engine red, and then like in water and out of water. And in this one, it's just like it's like blonde or strawberry blonde or like light brown, depending on the angles.
Well, that's because every color in all of the shots are some gradient of gray, black, or brown.
I don't think that's the problem, though.
I mean, also they just didn't re-dye her hair for the shots she was in, and they didn't like fix it in post.
I don't think she had red hair in the original anyway when they were filming it.
I don't remember.
I don't remember either. I just
think
know
she
she
might
had red hair in Aquaman.
Because when they originally cast her for the first time around, and they had they released that first image of her where she's like standing on the shore or something. Was that only ever in black and white, or was there color to that? I can't remember.
I think
only
it was in
remember
black and white.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, moving on to our next topic. I just want to address some of the scenes that definitely could have been cut. Looking at Travis and Lexi's nameplate, and the horse walking. Travis, you hit on something that I said out loud while watching it, that the Superman's death rattle that goes on literally for over 5 minutes.
It's just too long.
It's way too long.
Just sitting here just now, I was thinking, how long do you think the movie would be if every shot that was in slow-mo got turned up to full speed? You could probably shave half an hour off of this movie just by undoing all the slow-mo.
He abuses slow motion.
There's some shots that are like there's too many. Like I know rewatching it, I made a note of the fact that the Batmobile chase through definitely not Chernobyl. Like there's two slow-mo shots that are put right next to each other, and because it's slow-mo then slow-mo, it feels like it got edited weirdly. Like because there's like him and it's like the slowdown while he's like gunning it with the miniguns on the side of the Batmobile, mowing down the parademons, and then it feels like a weird jump cut to like the shell getting popped out of that giant turret.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
It feels like, and when we first watched it, Devin, I thought it buffered into that. Like I thought that was on us.
No, I never thought it was on us, but I was just kind of like, oh, something a little. It pulled me out.
Weird. I agree. It's just such a weird transition. There's a couple like weird cuts to Lois that could stand to go away. Like I understand showing her at the beginning in her routine of like getting the cops coffee and then going to Clark's memorial. I like that. But there's a shot that literally just goes nowhere of her just sitting on her apartment floor where she like holds up the suit for a half a second and then it cuts back away.
Cut it.
We didn't need to keep coming back to Themyscira before the mother box went off. You know,
there are so many scenes where like the whole scene is actually like two plot moments, but like the way to there's no way to edit that into a not choppy way to cut that scene up, and so the resolve was just to leave the whole thing in, which in turn makes the scene like 3 times longer than it needs to be, because you have like the conversation moves into the hallway, and then whoever's the scene's still following moves back into the other room, and it just feels so long. Like and it's boring because most of what you're seeing isn't important. Like my mind goes to Silas talking to the janitor and the janitor seeing the parademon, right? Like that whole sequence is like, I don't remember how long the scene is, but I was like, this just feels so gratuitously long of nothing happening. for this guy to get abducted by a parademon. And like in
There's-
that scene,
yeah.
it's forgivable because like we're seeing more of Silas working on stuff, and we're seeing like, oh, plot, people are getting abducted. But like there are scenes like, right, where 3/4 of the scene is literally nothing. It is no dialogue. There's nothing interesting happening. Also, speaking of this scene, I thought it was hilarious about how the guy Bruce is talking to is like, there are no magic fish, man. Right guy with the really weird eyes that swims really fast.
That's another thing is I could never tell, even in a theatrical cut, if they're playing dumb and pretending that
must
they
be,
don't
right?
know about Arthur.
They must be because they watch him walk into the sea with their little.
But also the leader of that town gets really like it seems like he's legitimately offended by Bruce being like he comes in on the king tide, or like the guy's like we're poor, we're not stupid, and it
That's
feels
just
like,
his
like
drama degree going to good use, I imagine. He's just a
it
good
must
actor.
be. Yeah, it must be. I don't know. I couldn't tell if we were supposed to believe that they're bullshitting for Arthur or if they actually don't know that he is a fish man.
Nah, man,
I
they
also-
rehearsed that song because they know he's the fish man.
I think one of the most egregious, like this does not need to be here scenes, is the fact that Steppenwolf and Desaad have the same exact fucking conversation twice.
Yeah. See, that's my biggest thing with the problem with this movie. It does the first 2 hours, it's telling you the same things twice. Here's Aquaman. Here's his introduction. We're going to go away, come back. Here's Aquaman again. Here's his introduction. Here's Diana. Here's Themyscira. Here's Diana. Here's Themyscira. Here's Batman. Here's Batman. Here's Flash. Here's Flash. Everything in that first half is twice. And it's the weakest part of the whole entire thing. If you cut half of that out, you've got a much shorter, neater movie that would work a lot better.
Don't forget the hilarious amount of times they need to remind us that Superman is in fact dead. Like, I understand that, you know, it's a year later and this like massive historic event happened. I understand it coming up in conversation, you know, in the same way that like almost all of phase 2 of the MCU, I don't think a movie goes by where they don't something New York, something Battle of New York.
Guardians.
That's what I'm saying. Like with the exception of the one that does not happen on Earth, right?
No,
I
you're right,
don't
yeah.
understand why it feels like almost every, if not every other scene, something Superman's dead. Something Superman's dead. We got like one direct addressal of it in the Justice League version where it's Bruce in Gotham with that crook. And it's like, do you think they know now that he's gone? And then we see like the black and silver flag being flown in France. And that's it. Like, aside from when it comes up in conversation, like, you know, there's, you know, like the weird shots of in this where it's like it just randomly cuts to Lois with the suit. We know he's dead. We know Lois is mourning. That's why you showed us her for 5 minutes at the memorial. We don't need that shot. We know he's dead. Thank you. We saw the last movie, and we also saw the first 5 minutes of him dying. We know. We've been here. Also, even though I like the fight, quite frankly, the way that Batman's arc is plotted, I think you can cut out the fight with Superman. I think you can skip over that. I think you can have a moment. Maybe he just sees Bruce and you cut to him lashing out at Bruce and then Lois comes in, calms him down, and then they piss off to Smallville. Maybe do that. But like the way the movie's plotted here, I don't need the fight at the memorial. I love the fight itself. I think you can cut that entirely and still have a cohesive movie. Like I said, when we were talking about like the Joss Whedon version, when Clark has that line where he's like, you know, the world needs you, but does it need you to Batman? At that point, it's important to Bruce's character arc, and you keep that version. But here,
I forget in Justice League, does he ask Bruce if he bleeds? Am I remembering
Yes.
that? Doesn't he do that?
Yeah,
Do
yeah.
you bleed?
Because
the whole
he
time I
says
was like-
bleed in a really weird way.
I was really hoping that would be in here so I could mock it, and I was like happily disappointed it wasn't there. You know?
Yeah, but there's just so much that belonged on the cutting room floor. And again, I like the fight. I could have done without it.
Well,
Moving
that's-
along.
Just
Sorry.
to stay on
Go,
that
Jimmy.
quickly, sorry to interrupt you. But
No, you're good.
I think with the context and situation of the movie itself, I can't hold him being overly self-indulgent with having every single thing he shot in this. It's like, you know what? He got treated like trash. I can forgive you having the same scene 5 times in a row, 3 with slow-mo and whatnot. Like, you go there, it's not the greatest thing for me. It's fine. The movie still works for me as a whole, but it's just, if he gets to do it a second one, just tone it down a little bit. No, because it could easily have been 3 hours, maybe slightly longer, and still been fine.
Mm-hmm.
There's truth to that. I was telling my dad, right? I ran inside to fill up my water bottle. I was talking to my dad. I was like, I've seen the Snyder cut twice now, and I don't think I ever need to watch it anytime soon. You know, and I'm the same person who saw Endgame twice in one day. Right. But there's just something about this movie that just like, I need to take a nap when I'm done. Not in a bad way. It's just like, I have committed so much to this movie that's like barely even 45 minutes longer than Endgame, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how I could just watch Endgame all day long and feel good. It's this that I'm just like, oh God, thank God it's over. I'm going to the bathroom and I'm taking a nap. And I don't know why this elicits that out of me when the other like obnoxiously long superhero epic, I'm like ready for round 2 right after the credits roll.
Well, because it's better.
Yeah, like there's just stuff happening for the whole 3 hours.
Fair.
Avengers
Like,
Endgame
it's
is a much better movie than Justice League, the Snyder cut.
Like of the 3 hours we saw, there's only like an extra 10 minutes that didn't make it into the movie. Like they wrote it in a way that used all of its time efficiently versus this 4 hours. And again, like it's fair point that like this is Zach's chance to just do the thing he wanted to do the whole time. And that, you know, you can't knock him for that. But like if this was what came out in a theater, I would have not like I would have slept through it. I would have fallen asleep in a movie theater chair.
Yeah. And Mitch, you're right. You're right. Like in the context of because this movie doesn't exist in a vacuum. Taking into consideration how we got here, that's valid for him to be as, you know, patting himself on the back for 4 hours. But it
is a long movie. It is a very long movie.
It feels like 4 hours. I want to discuss some things that I don't know, maybe I'm the only person who had a few of these. I want to talk about things that were new to us and stuff that surprised us that it was Joss Whedon material. Keeping with things, Mitch, I'll go to you first, my friend.
A lot of, I honestly couldn't tell you what was a Joss Whedon material. I can't remember the 2017 cut. I watched that twice and it's out my memory bank completely. But like being surprised at like even what was Zack Snyder's the sheer amount of it, really. So I know they had that whole story that was fed to us that, you know, Joss has reshot a ton of this movie, and apparently he didn't reshoot much. It's just changing scenes slightly and changing the context of the movie entirely. But
yeah. And like I said, I'll go last like normal, but like there were specific, and granted, you know, Dev and I both like rewatched Justice League the day before we watched this. So the Joss Whedon cut was very fresh. There's a specific moment that when we did the audio commentary, I said there's no way this was Zack Snyder. Like you cannot convince me it was, and I was wrong and impressed that I was wrong. But we'll get to that. I'll go to Devin first. Oh no, Travis is back right on cue. Travis and
I go first
Lexi.
before Travis anyway. I have the last couple of times.
Oh, that's fair. You guys, stuff that you were surprised was in this that means that it was Snyder and not Joss. And is there anything that
I couldn't
anything you
remember.
missed?
Watching it, I couldn't really remember at all. I don't know if you did or not, but Travis and I also, right after the movie, watched Cosmonaut's video.
Yeah, I caught that yesterday. It was good.
I figured because you were bringing up points from his video that I noticed. So, there's a scene. What is it of them fighting together rather than
from the finale
Yeah, I guess
when they're fighting Steppenwolf at the end.
I guess I just remember Cosmonaut showing two videos. One with like
Just Wonder Woman.
Yeah, and then there's other ones, and then there's like them doing more like combo moves, as he said, and
the final fight being more like them working as a team,
which
is a lot better.
Yeah,
100%.
I think there wasn't really anything, I guess, that I was like, this is the reverse happened. Where like there were moments I remember from I haven't watched the 2017 cut since I saw it in theaters, that I was like, specifically two moments, I guess three because of the one after credit scene, that I was like, this was definitely done by Joss Whedon. It was the Batman and Alfred talk of he's more human than me. I like truth and I'm a big fan of justice. And the Flash Superman race at the end. And all three were Joss Whedon. And I'm very upset because I love the I like truth and I'm a big fan of justice line. And I'm sad that I have to dislike it now.
I'm also glad that they took out a lot of the corny ass jokes, especially from Flash. And Batman too. Like it wasn't needed. And
I was surprised at the implication that Flash has been doing this for a while. Which I preferred to like Flash as a baby.
Yeah.
Right. That like he's a competent person, that he can do things during the movie. But like the fluent in Gorilla Sign Language comment caught me off guard because that means Gorilla Grodd happened. And
I never thought of that. Holy shit.
No. I did.
And like it fits the theme though of like this universe has had several comic book things happen that just nobody talks about apparently, because like nobody talks about the day everyone wished for everyone else to die, and no one talks about the fact that there's a talking gorilla running around somewhere, and like, or just like we casually mentioned that the Batman existed for 20 years, but they're surprised to see an alien. Like I don't. Were none of his superpowered rogues gallery there? Like, did Bane and Poison Ivy just not exist? So,
Travis, I want to ask you specifically though, and like because you brought up the big fan of truth and justice line. How do you feel about the not impressed? Like, do you like it as much, less than? Like, because I thought of you whenever the axe made contact, I'm like, I need to know how Travis feels about this.
I did like it, and I was more overcome with disappointment that the truth and justice line wasn't Zach, because I was like, I can't. Now it really feels grody to me that like I'm confirmed it's not him, but I just like. I did like the not impressed line, for what little we got of, he gave a line to Superman that wasn't gruntily and Batman-like, and I will take it.
Also, she's so vicious with Steppenwolf, which we see the amount of people that like Clark liquefies in BVS, right? Like that warlord he sends through several buildings.
Yeah.
So, like, I shouldn't be surprised in the way that he's brutalizing Steppenwolf.
It
But like the moment where Clark
cuts
just
off one of his horns.
yeah. Oh, and I noticed watching it the second time because like for some reason I thought he knocked his helmet off and then lasered it off. Where it's like he just shoots through the helmet and just burns his shit. This is gross.
Poor guy. Poor Steph.
Yeah. He never knew he made it home. I've seen people online like sympathizing with Steppenwolf and referring to him as Steppy.
I've seen Stepped on Wolf.
That's on Wolf.
Oh, that poor guy. But yeah, Travis, Lexi, any more on the surprise of what was still here stuff?
I felt like there was one more thing. Can't remember. It's all right. Move on.
I will say on the topic of Cosmonaut Variety Hours video, which was very good. I remember people talking about the Kal-El no scene. Like this is clearly that I was like,
just good though. That's just good though.
I never thought it was a bad line read, and the fact that I was like, oh, I guess it was him. But he pointed out it's like it's just a different take.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I noticed more scenes that I was like, this is different. Like the text is the same, but this is a different take. And it once he pointed that out, I clocked a few more in here that I did not notice the first time. Devin, friend, what stuff? You and I are the ones who have Justice League a little bit more closer in the mind brain.
I would say so. When Jim Gordon and like the League first like are on the rooftop and Batman like is appearing and then comes down and there's an absence of the theme, I was very surprised. I missed that moment. I wanted that again and I didn't get it. I love how Zach handled Batman more just compared to Joss. Like most of those scenes, like it doesn't seem like Batman's so eager to die. It also like dialed down some of the jokes that didn't really work for me with Batman. And then just hearing him at the end of the movie, like keep the faith. And also like I found him much more motivating, much more of a, I guess I found him as more of a leader. So like most of the Batman scenes, I enjoyed a lot more. And I guess I was surprised about. I didn't think there'd be such a narrative twist there with him. Nothing else is like running into my head right now that you guys haven't already talked about. So like, I'd say just those couple bits there.
For me, even though it's different, and this is what I was referring to, I'm so shocked Zack Snyder made the creative decision to have Superman use freeze breath. Like, that is probably one of Superman's silliest, most corny powers. And the fact that he's still, and in such, it's even more Superman-y in this version. Even though we lose like a more Superman-ish line, like the, I like truth and I'm a big fan of justice. That like the fact that he just nonchalantly just on the axe.
Yeah,
I was like,
I will
Zach!
say I like that his attitude in that scene is still the same. That he's kind of just like, yeah, I'm back. I'm here. We chilling. I'm gonna take one of your horns now.
Yeah.
I did enjoy that. So I think it's weird that he's still wearing the black suit at the end, though.
I hate that. I hate that so much. That him open the button down might be the best part of Justice League. Just because again, it's so Superman, right? I don't like that he's still wearing the black and gray suit. And I dislike even more that we're projecting the red and blue onto crazy Superman. I don't like that. I don't like that the only times we see Superman in his proper outfit, he's either dying or evil. I really dislike that narratively. Especially because when we see him holding what we're all assuming is the charred remains of Lois, he's wearing his like, I don't want to say rebirth like DC rebirth, but like his resurrection suit.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I didn't care for that.
See, I just don't understand why he's even wearing a black and silver suit. Like, there's no rhyme or reason to it. He's just like, I'm going to wear black today. It's a new day. I've got a second chance. I'm not going to waste it. I'm going to wear black. Okay.
Yeah, they don't explain, because like in the comics, it's because it soaks up more sunlight. Like it gives him a boost faster. So like it would make sense for them to have that somewhere in the movie, just like.
Well, there is a shot of him Jesus T-posing, like
over
like just as he flies again and comes back. So like
it would make sense if he had a thing from Jor-El that's like, oh hey, you died and came back, congratulations, you unlocked this color scheme now. It helps you charge up faster. You know,
especially when they're having that whole remembering all the lines and stuff. Like you could just explained it there, like, oh yeah, by the way, here's this. Just in case of emergency, wear black suit.
In case of emergency, wear black. I will say, and Alexis, this brings me back to what you were saying on Movie Club for the Batman v Superman review, where like the Christ imagery that is cool in theory but doesn't work in practice. I thought of you whenever he has his like, you know, Christ arms wide open moment in front of the sun. I like that they found a way for him to like practically look like Jesus. Like he's literally being like, okay, I got to soak in as much light as I can because this shit's about to get haywire. That like, it wasn't just a good framed shot. It was like, there was a reason for him to do this. And I was curious if that like got an eye roll out of you, like some of the other Super Christ imagery.
Yeah, she was wallet shopping.
I think I was shopping at that point.
Did you say wallet shopping?
I need a new wallet really bad, and so I just decided to look up wallets during those scenes, so I missed it.
I almost missed it too because I was like, "Ooh, that's a cute wallet."
Sorry.
That's valid. I finally have to retire my first order wallet. I'm on my like fourth debit card that it is cracked in half.
Mm-hmm.
So
why
I finally
my Marvel Comics wallet I had to retire because I kept cracking my debit cards.
Yeah, I finally have my new horizontal or vertical rather wallet, and I'm happy about it. So I relate. All right, Mitch, favorite and least favorite character in this version?
Well, least favorite. Oh, least favorite's kind of a tie because I hated the villains in this. Darkseid's nothing, Desaad's nothing. Granny Goodness is just there. She doesn't even have
literally doesn't have a line.
Steppenwolf is just there. He's just a bit of a bitch at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Even his little puppy dog eyes, which I can't help but laugh at. Cyborg wasn't great. If I can lump them all together, I'm going to do that. But I'll probably get to go with Steppenwolf. He was bad. He was really bad. Favorite character though? It's probably a toss-up between Wonder Woman and Flash. Even with the whole stroking Iris thing.
And the hot dog. Yeah, that's fair. I will say personally, as somebody who never gave a shit about Steppenwolf in the first one, like I spent that whole movie in your Justice League, rather. I spent every time Steppenwolf was on screen just having an internal monologue of they should not be starting with an apocalypse villain. They should not be starting with an apocalypse villain. This should be Brainiac. This should be Amazo. This could be insert infinite other league level villains it could be, and it not be Darkseid or Steppenwolf, which is just Darkseid by proxy. I enjoyed him here, and I liked seeing a villain who like had a power, like I want power, I want to rule, I wanted this, I wanted that. Who, at least I feel like you rarely see that type of villain in earnest believe in the greater cause, right? Like I felt like Steppenwolf really did just want to prove himself to Darkseid,
Which
and
I
his
found
council.
a little weird because he's trying to win his way back into subjugation. Like, at no point does he think, man, I could just take the anti-life equation and make Darkseid my bitch. Like, he wants to be back under somebody.
Yeah.
I thought
And
it
that was the
boring.
thing.
His motivations were boring.
I'll say his motivation doesn't work because you don't know why he's kicked out.
Yeah.
Well, what has he done? He's done nothing. He shows up, he slapped a couple of Amazons about, and he steals some boxes, and that's about it. He doesn't do anything.
Nothing.
No, yeah, he doesn't do shit. Yeah. I like the scenes with Desaad and Darkseid where he's like, it really does feel like he is truthfully pledging his fealty, and that felt different from this type of villain. Like, Travis, what you were saying with the anti-life equation, like when that came into play, I'm like, oh, he's gonna try to double cross Darkseid. And like in my mind, I'm like, that's where his plan falls apart, is that Darkseid figures out that Steppenwolf is stabbing him in the back. And the fact that Steppenwolf's like, I found it. Please tell me you love me again. I'm sorry. I found the anti-life equation. That I was like, okay, like they're actually committing to Steppenwolf being a loyal servant. And
Why do you have to talk about it twice, though? Remember him coming back twice, talking about the mother box?
It's because the first half is so long, in case you forgot.
In case you fell asleep and woke back up. And could you imagine falling asleep the first time Steppenwolf's talking to Desaad and waking back up the second time and not realizing you missed an hour of the movie?
Also, the way Desaad speaks, it's when he's on that little slate thing, he's just like, Darkseid. It's just like, what the hell is that? I didn't get it. It's awful.
I also, speaking of the anti-life equation, rewatching it today, I think I understand why it feels like Darkseid just forgot about it. The vibe I got was that it was more, he was just blindly conquering and just didn't take stock of what planet it was. And that like Earth unto itself, sans anti-life, is so insignificant that like nobody stopped to go, oh, this planet. And because it was 5,000 years ago, that the knowledge that the Defiance, as they call it, and the planet where they lost anti-life were the same thing.
Well, here's the thing with that, right? That they have parademons, and they themselves can sense the mother boxes. We know they're not destroyed. So you have 5,000 years. You can just send parademons out. You have boom tubes.
Which doesn't...
How did you forget? You just go out in the galaxy going, no, it wasn't there.
I just don't like that they have boom tubes without because the mother boxes make the boom tubes.
Yeah.
So that's how it's supposed to be. So they just have boom tubes randomly.
Yeah, that got grating after a while too. I didn't like the way the boom tubes are just glorified spaceship portals.
Especially when they use spaceships in the flashback fight. It's like, you have boom tubes. Why are you using that?
There's no point. Just put all your infantry down at once. You're going to overwhelm them. But yeah, I think that there was some amount of not that over 5,000 years, because all of them seem shocked. We're like, Steppenwolf's like, hold on. They're the same planet. And that it felt like Darkseid losing the anti-life and the planet that fought back were two different things, from the way that Steppenwolf is like, it's here. It was always here. The planet that fought back and the planet that the anti-life is on are one and the same. it's about to go down. I don't know. It's still stupid.
So you would have thought someone would have marked it on a map because they all knew it was there when they landed. So like,
yeah.
it just doesn't make sense. It's
Also, like when the boom tube is open at the end of the movie, and Darkseid's like looking into like Dead Steppenwolf in the League and everything like that, and then it goes off and they lose. Is it not going to go off and like
Go through the boom
explode through the boom tube and like
That's what I
Darkseid?
thought.
Because if that thing like ripped Superman's like flesh off his bone and like blood was splattered everywhere, like Darkseid's gonna eat it too. So then like I don't know, a little nitpicky, but
I agree. I think it would have been better if they're never having their stare off in the Kablooey timeline, that they don't open the boom tube and they go, why did the Unity shut off? And then they open it, and then that's the moment that, like, as they open it, Steppenwolf's corpse flies through it, and the Justice League get to have their, like, you want next moment, which I just loved. There's no dialogue. It is just them looking at Darkseid. Like, if you walk through this portal, we're going to fuck you up too. Please, I want you to walk up to me right now, because like Superman's just like riding that high, like he's just ready to keep putting dudes in the dirt. But yeah, I completely lost where we were going. Who's up next for favorite characters in this version? Is that Travis Lexi? Cool.
Mm-hmm.
What's the question?
Favorite and least favorite character.
Okay. Wonder Woman, I guess. Least favorite, Cyborg,
Yeah.
Steppenwolf, Darkseid, Mara.
Yeah, that's fair. There's not a whole lot going on with like any of the last three there.
I don't care about Deathstroke. I don't care about
ouch.
Sorry. I don't know him that well. I didn't care personally. I didn't care what was going on with that. Also, what's his face? Baldy McBalderson Jr.
Lexi Luthor.
Yeah. I mean, I know that was a scene that we saw before, I guess, right? Yeah, It was in the other one.
It's tweaked. It's tweaked.
Twist.
Yeah, so in the Justice League version, the conversation basically ends with Luthor being like, oh, well, don't you think it's time we had a league of our own? And then cut to black. This one feels like it's setting up a Ben Affleck Batman movie.
100%. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, that's clearly it was original intent where he's like, oh, by the way, Batman's name is Bruce Wayne. Have fun.
Yeah. Which was better, but like, since it was just a tiny clip of him and Deathstroke, that's why I don't care. You know, if there were another movie coming out, then maybe I would care, but like, there's not, so I don't. But yeah,
that's fair. Travis?
My least favorite character was probably Flash. He wasn't as bad as he was in Justice League, but there were still too many moments where I thought he was trying to be Sheldon Cooper, and it bothered me. Because one is too many. I don't even think I had I guess like Wonder Woman and Batman and Superman, because they don't do anything. Like they just exist in this movie, and that's enough for me to not dislike them. Versus like, Cyborg's character arc feels empty and Aquaman is there. Like everyone just feels like they're there.
just more cohesively there.
Yeah. That's a
Like they
yeah.
have a little more purpose than last time.
Them being there makes sense plot wise, at least.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
Instead of having different, this character and this character has their thing, and this one, now it's just like they're the Justice League.
they're doing justice
They're
things.
Not killing, but saving,
Murderizing.
saving more people in
They
this one.
murderize Steppenwolf.
It's such a brutal kill. It's such a brutal kill.
Which
I know
I
it's not like he
love
didn't.
that it was her.
Yeah,
She went for the head, man.
when she jumped up, I was like, "Oh, we're doing this."
I
Really?
love it. I personally loved that.
Then the singing
It's-
creeps in.
Yeah, because
I kept singing
I-
it last night.
what was that?
I said I kept singing it last night.
Mm-hmm.
When Wonder Woman
Oh.
would come on, I'd start singing, but I don't want to do it here because I don't know if it might be disrespectful or not. So
That's fair. I know whenever Devin and I were doing our watch through, there came a point where like we were like, oh, Diana's about to come on screen, and they like went right. I want to see somebody take an edit of this movie where they put in the opening music from The Lion King. Because I don't know, that just sounds funny in my mind.
nothing. It's some.
Okay.
If you watched Frozen 2, there's like kind of that
Yeah,
type of
yeah.
singing.
It's the exact
in
same.
it.
You're right. I completely
I'd like to
forgot
see
about
that
the.
and put it.
That's better. Lexi upgraded my joke. Devin, favorite and least favorite character in the bunch here.
Absolute favorite character is Voco. Willem Dafoe gets it from me. Earn that paycheck, Willem. I also I did not hate Cyborg in this movie. I enjoy Ray Fisher a lot. I feel like if he had his own movie, which I had no idea who the villain would be, but if he had his own movie, I feel like I would be interested in it. Least favorite characters, Mara for sure. Oh, also favorite as Batman. Cyborg was not one of my favorite characters, but I liked him at least. I thought he was compelling. But I like Batman a lot more in this version. And then least favorite characters, definitely Mara. And I did not like the Flash, man. I like that he wasn't a baby, in the under the harbor fight, and you actually see him saving people, and you got to see more things, and especially the things that were in the trailer that weren't in the movie. Those just felt good to see, him dodging the blasts and then just pushing one of them. It was enough for me to be cool. There were too many scenes where it was Sheldon Cooper, Tom Holland's Peter Parker is just awkward, discomfort, a little too quirky for me. Didn't like it.
Yeah, Ezra Miller's performance and the way he's written don't work, but the way that they utilize the Flash's power set is great here.
Couldn't have said it better.
I get jostled, watching it. Keep getting jostled back and forth between I really like this Flash, and then he starts talking, and I'm like, that's right.
Oh yeah.
They this is about to be the end of the world. I can't believe I'm saying this. Zack Snyder had a really good vision for how this Flash, how they're going to portray the Speed Force, right? And I really like the way that they show him moving at normal speed while everything's slow. I like that portrayal of how he's moving around a lot. But is that a chicken?
It's a chicken this time.
His name is Todd.
Hello, Todd. I really specifically, whenever the tower on Stryker's Island is coming down, when he does that cool whirlwind where he's just I can't tell if he's run, throw, or if he's just moving so fast he's vaporizing all of the debris. But
I think he's like changing the path that the debris is on, so it's like falling around them and away from them. And then he misses the last one, and Cyborg's like, "Booyah!" And
Spider was like, "Booyah!" But yeah, I like I said, I dislike his characterization, but I like how the power set is used. So I'm right there with you. He is my least favorite. I fall kind of in the middle with Cyborg. Like there are moments from him that I like a lot. There's moments where I really like Ray Fisher's performance. I think that there is a very like, like the first choice type thing. Where like, if as an actor, you don't want to make like the first choice that you'd think of, kind of like marinate in it a little bit type thing. And I like that whenever Silas is trying to superheat the mother box with Cyborg, it with Ray's delivery and the way he does that scene, it's not just a no. Like there's that really human moment where he kind of like stammers on it. He's like, no. Like it's little things like that I really enjoyed from his performance. So he's kind of middle of the road for me. Like it's more Ray Fisher's performance than Cyborg's character. I was surprised to nobody. I fucking love Batman in this. I like that we. What was that?
I said Batman. You're like, nobody said Batman. Yeah. But like, I fucking love Batman in this version compared to Justice League.
I like Justice League Batman, but I like that with like the little tag of the nightmare scene, I like that we go back and forth between the Batman who's trying to just be better versus the Batman who's offering himself up on a plate in grief and in guilt. I like that he's I'm operating on faith, and that we get to see like a fallen Batman. Like we get to see two very different versions in the movie, even though one of them is much shorter lived than the other. But I'm excited for Robert Pattinson, and I'm really excited for the Batman, but God damn it, I miss Affleck so much, and I'm going to forever. And as much as I'm excited for what's to come, I personally will have a hard time not lamenting what we don't get. Coming up to the end here, quickly here. Mitch, was the Snyder Cut worth the hype?
Was it worth the hype from who? Because there was two different types of hype. I feel like one side was devoid of it, the other side kind of really overblew it. If you're gonna go from the overblew it side, then I don't know. I think it was worth it that he actually got to finish it and release it, because it is a far better movie. In comparison, the first one was just literally a trailer for this, with everything like cut out. It acts like a trailer. But
yeah,
I don't know. It's a tough question for me, anyway. I'm gonna say yeah, just purely for the fact that I enjoyed it. I didn't think I was going to. I was very vocal about I didn't want it. It's just going to be the same crap we got before. I ended up enjoying it, so yeah, I suppose it was worth the hype.
All right, Travis and Lexi, was the Snyder Cut worth the hype?
Go ahead.
I'm glad he got to finish his movie. I didn't like it. I liked changes he made to it. I think I would like Justice League better, like in a vacuum, right? If Joss hadn't changed things, like the biggest example for me is I still didn't like the Flash in this, but at least he was only insufferable as a character and not also in combat, versus in the Justice League version, he's just all around an anchor on everything happening. Like he's just weighing down everything. So like there are changes that I guess Joss made that don't make sense, that when you revert back to what Zach wanted, the movie makes more sense in a way that I don't like. but it is like a more cohesive experience because of it. So I can't fault it for that. I would have been happy either way if we had never gotten this. I'm glad we got it so that I know at least to me I was right and that I still disliked it. And I'm glad the people that really wanted it got it, and I hope they actually enjoyed it.
I think they did. At least from what I'm seeing, it seems like everybody's happy to some degree.
Mm.
Lexi,
I
was
don't
it worth the
know.
hype?
I have no clue. Really, I have no idea because more often than not, I saw people upset that it exists or was about to exist. So the hype was negative hype that I was seeing. I wouldn't say it's not, but I wouldn't say it is. So hard, maybe. It depends on who you are. I don't know. Like, I wasn't hyping it up, and I didn't see anybody else hyping it up. So to say yes would feel like I'm lying, but to say no, I'd also feel like I'm lying. I'm content with what I got. So,
All right.
yes? Question mark is my answer.
All right. Devin?
I think maybe I overhyped it.
Yeah.
It was so cool to see it be like 2-3 years ago and like, oh, like does a Snyder cut like exist? To being just like, oh, it does exist, to like the conversations with fans, to the rumors it's like finished, and then like being actually picked up on HBO Max. It was like, that was really exciting to watch. Yeah, like I know it got like another budget and like to finish it and whatever, but like that was fun to watch. I'm glad I watched Man of Steel and BVS like very prior to this, because it kind of like reminded me to be like, don't expect everything to be okay. Like it's going to be better. And I do think it was better, but like, don't like, it's still going to be a Zack Snyder film. So yeah, I think it was worth the hype. I think it was a ton of fun and interesting at the very least to see like the plot points that were like totally different. So yeah, man. What about you?
I have a hard time saying that anything that amassed what can only be called a cult-like following, complete with pamphlets, bus ads, and planes flying
Green
above
banners.
San Diego.
The good old days.
Did the Snyder Cut live up to the hype? I liked it unironically. And that is better than what I was going into it expecting. I was expecting it to just be flat out bad. I was like, if we're going to take the training wheels off of Zach, we're going to let him do his thing 100% all over this movie. Oh boy. Like there's a lot of moving parts and this is going to be a bit of a mess and it's going to be kind of crazy. Like we all went into this prepared for some shit. Like we live in a society. Like let us not forget that's not in the movie, but we were all prepared for that to just be what the movie felt like. And there was kind of a morbid curiosity and entertainment that I had going into it, where I'm like, I don't think these movies are good. There's one of them that I like, and the one that technically isn't even a Zack Snyder movie is the one I like the most. But I also love Joss Whedon stuff before knowing he's a bastard. So the fact that I walked away from this liking it equally to Justice League, it impressed me. And it lived up to its own hype for me. However, even though the Snyder Cut exists, I think I speak for everybody on this podcast right now when I say we're still going to be making fun of the fucking bus ads for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Y'all need help. Anyway, I'm gonna real quick. I'm gonna wrap up the letter grade, final thoughts, and which version you prefer, all into one final topic here. So, Mitch, the floor is yours.
What's the 75% in American grads?
C.
It's like a C.
See,
And yeah, I'd go to solid C. Yeah. As you were saying, Jared, I wasn't expecting it to like it. We saw Justice League in 2017. It's like, oh, it's going to be the same movie because why wouldn't it be the same movie again? Just longer. The changes that were made for that version, I don't understand. And what we were supposed to get is a lot better than what we did get. But there's a lot of problems with the structure of it, the pacing of it. So about a C, I think. That's where I'm going to land. I enjoyed it overall. I'd definitely watch it again, but I'm not going to praise it as this holy best movie of all time that some people on Twitter are.
Yeah, I can't say that I'm there with them either. Travis / Lexi?
C minus.
C
It's
minus?
all right. It was all right.
And I think you said earlier you prefer Snyder
I
Cut
prefer
to
this
Joss.
one to Joss by a landslide. I thought the other one was Garbo. This one's slightly less Garbo. And yeah. Yep, go ahead.
If you could just take the color of Whedon's version, put it over this, it would become an infinitely better movie to me. Like it would drive it up probably a whole letter grade.
I agree
Kind of
with
hard
you.
on the eyes.
It's so ugly. Nothing
But
has
that's
color.
what Whedon done, though, wasn't it? They literally took the scenes and just upped the color grading, and it looks ugly.
He cranked the saturation. And so, especially seeing them side by side, some things almost look discolored in the Whedon version by comparison.
Yeah.
But so maybe tone it down a little bit from that. But I just want these characters to actually have some color on them.
I want to see Wonder Woman's outfit to be red and blue and gold.
You can't see the colors on her outfit; it's just brown.
Yeah.
No, it's true.
Yeah.
I do agree. The colors, but the colors
Drab.
definitely need to be there. But it's an unfortunate Snyder trait that everything's
Yeah.
got
It's
to be
it's supposed to
devoid
be
of life.
raining. It's in London.
I say, if the entire thing was in London, fair enough. That place is
Yeah.
great as hell. But it's not.
Yeah, I can understand why Warner Brothers didn't want this being the version to go to theaters back in 2017.
Yeah.
You can tone down the stuff to knock it down to a PG-13 rating. Because again, it didn't feel like an R-rated movie for the most part, which I was actually impressed with.
Take the CGI blood out and the F-bombs and you're fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
wasn't
R
even
is
that
completely
bad for me,
manufactured.
honestly. You were right. It wasn't even bad. The blood, Jared. 'Cause
No.
you told me I wasn't gonna be squeamish or anything, and I wasn't. So
I think the worst gore moments, there's the blink and you miss it. I never saw a Themysciran or Amazonian get cut in half. I could not find that.
That scene wasn't in the movie.
There's an Atlantean who gets bisected.
Yeah.
And Vulko gets disintegrated in the Apocalypse vision where Darkseid just beams him in two. But okay, you brought it up, Alexis, and you jogged my memory. I wanted to make sure I wasn't crazy and just missed the Themysciran.
I never saw
it
that.
wasn't in there.
I
Okay.
would have said something about it if I would have remembered that, because I'm a tad bit squeamish sometimes with that. But
There's a lot of blood in that fight from them, but that specific scene that was going around on Twitter when he released it in black and white is not in this movie. It might be in the Justice is Grey quote version of this, because that's got a different ending apparently. Or
What?
slightly different ending, yeah. They DLC'd the movie.
Oh, for fuck's sake! Oh
Yeah.
my god!
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah,
You
like
just
I can
lowered its
see,
grade, Mitch. I want you to know. You just made me bring the grade down by saying
Or at
that.
least that's what I've heard people say. I don't factually I'm not 100% sure. I've seen people that follow and have followed this cut say there's a different ending. Slightly different ending.
And I know they only had a set budget or whatever, but it looked really unfinished too.
just
Like,
the opening
really
shot.
bad.
The opening shot has a newspaper floating through the shot that is clearly CG and clearly not done.
It just
And that tracks through the whole movie. But I think that like if I'm in the Warner Brothers staff room when this is what I'm a version of this is what I'm presented with, yeah, I would have been like, Zach, this needs to be shorter. Because when you're competing with Age of Ultron had come out 2 years ago, Marvel movies clock in at around 2 hours. Like, you can't put a 4-hour epic in front of people like this and not expect them to fall asleep. There's nothing going on. The first 2 hours is just... The first 2 hours are the opening scenes of 3 different movies that then conjoin into one.
It's the Return of the King at the start and the end. Whereas Return of the King ends 8 times, this starts 8 times and then finishes 8 times.
Mm-hmm. And so
Mitch and Travis, both of you just hit it on the head so well. With the Return of the King comparison and what you said with like this feels like a bunch of different movies opening scene, just one after another. That you dang.
So yeah, in the space we got it of like I got to make my movie, like it's fine, but also I can understand where in 2016 or whatever the executives are going, dude, like we love you and we hired you for a reason. Can you please cut like the singing Scandinavian woman swiffing Aquaman's sweater out because it's unnecessary.
I would just love to know what was the decision behind the Russian family. How do you go from the Flash scene to the Russian family? What was that about? Because the runtime and not wanting it that long in theaters at that point in time, yeah, fine. But taking that out to replace with that, I don't get it.
Dostoevsky. I have a little bit of a conspiracy theory in response to that, actually. Whenever I have my turn.
But yeah, like I said, I think in a vacuum this gets like a D plus. It's like a 69.8%. And given the circumstances, and Zachary came to me after class and was like, "Hey, can you bump my grade up? I've been really trying. It's just a really tough subject for me." And I said, "Okay." And I gave him the C minus. I was a nice professor.
Runtimes 101.
If it's 4 hours, 2 minutes, and 8 seconds long, it might be too long.
The fact that it's a second longer than 4 infuriates me, and I don't know why. Like, there's a part of me that just felt like the fact that this does not cap out at 4 pisses me off.
4-0-0-0-0.
It's not 4 hours long in the UK.
Is it not?
No.
How long is it?
It's that 3 hours and 53.
What's missing from it?
What?
Do you have the bit at the start where Snyder's talking to people, thanking everyone?
No.
Because I heard some versions don't have that and some do. So I assumed it was that, but yeah, it's just under 4 hours here.
Interesting.
That's disappointing. How is it still 4 hours and we don't get Snyder talking to people?
No idea.
I bet there's like a lottery of people who get Desaad twice. It's like a reverse lottery.
I'll say maybe I was missing a Desaad scene. I'm not sure.
There's actually 4 of them in total, and it's random how many you get and where they happen. And if you get really lucky, you get one of them after the credits, like just not even led into. It's just like it stitches in.
The scent of the mother box is on them.
Smell the 8th mother box. Wait a minute.
Hashtag release the Desaad cut.
No, ours
As you were
is 4
saying, Devin, I
hours and
apologize.
2 minutes long. No, I kind of want to know what Mitch hasn't seen. But I'm kind of like Snyder cut over Whedon for sure. Also, I wasn't sure if you wanted to do numbers for this at all, but I did them anyways. And did like a little comparison between the two.
Thank you, Devin.
The OG Justice League has a 6.3 out of 10 on IMDb, while the Zack Snyder Justice League has an 8.4. So a whole 2 like numerical grade better so far. The OG Justice League had a 40% on Rotten Tomatoes, and Zack Snyder's has a 73%. So like overall being generally much better received by audiences. And I would say at least. And I agree with them. I definitely think Zack Snyder's Justice League is like, I don't know, there's still wins and losses, but like I would rather watch that Justice League, like double the runtime. I'm fine with it. Not fine with it. I'm going to bitch about it, but it's okay.
As
Like,
you
it
should.
might not be a great movie, but at least it is a movie compared to Justice
Yeah,
League.
it is a movie. I liked what I saw. I liked the directions they were going in for the most part. It made some of the characters better. It's several of the characters better for me. Still, though, like the Martian Manhunter shit, annoying. Darkseid, not doing much. He forgets about the most powerful power ever. In defeat, he just like amnesias and blacks out, like, and like wakes up in Apocalypse and is like, where did I just come from? I don't know. As far as the letter grade goes, it's been between a D plus and a C minus for me since we watched it. So I'm gonna go with the C minus at this point.
Okay.
It's all right, man. You know.
That's fair. For me, I can go either way between Justice League and the Snyder Cut, because I feel like the Justice League version, the stuff that is changed, as far as like specific character beats and how characters are written, resonated with me. I like how Superman is portrayed there. I enjoy the arc that Batman goes on, where, like I said, he thinks the only way he can make right what he did to Superman is to offer himself up in sacrifice, with the battle against the parademons, and the way that he believes in Superman by the end in both of these versions, but I feel it a little bit more in the Justice League version. I like. For me, the thing that I had to like make a conceit at the door going into the Snyder Cut with, and rewatching it for Teen At Movie Club kind of helped me get into that headspace of, this is not the MCU. This is not a version of these characters where, even though a lot of stuff has changed, at the end of the day, Iron Man feels like Iron Man, Cap feels like Cap, so on and so forth. Where here, you kind of have to accept that this is a specific interpretation of these characters, different specific interpretations of these characters put through the lens of another artist. Like, this is Frank Miller's Batman put through a Zack Snyder prism, right? This is like a weird cocktail of Kingdom Come and Injustice Superman put through the Zack Snyder prism, right? Going into the Snyder Cut, making peace with that, I do truly think made me enjoy it worlds more. That I wasn't going into it the way I went into BVS, where I'm like, oh, this is such a good, like, you know, off the beaten path Batman. Like, he is on the verge of being a monster, and now he's killing, and now there's like a weird, and then the killing is what really, really stops me from saying the BVS is bad, but I like it. And it keeps me saying that, not I like it, period. And all of that said, these characters do feel more like themselves than they ever have under Zack Snyder's hand. And going in not expecting them to feel like Batman or Superman, and they do a little bit. I like that, and it surprised me and impressed me. Travis, like you were saying, in a vacuum, I'd be right there with you with a lot of the this is insane. I don't know why this was made. But knowing how we got here and why we got here, I was really impressed. And it was a lot better than I thought it was. And depending on how different the black and white fucking version is, assuming it's just a difference of takes, I'm still going to clock in at a B-. If they actually did DLC the movie, it's a C. And I'm tired of getting different versions of this movie. However, what I would like to see is a non-official, like how Topher Grace re-edited the Star Wars prequels. I would like to see if somebody can take the full entirety of Zack Snyder's vision and see how well somebody who is not doing it from like a weird studio focus group kind of way marry the two. Because I feel like there is an amazing Justice League movie that you can get if you stitch them together in the right way. But that's me. All that said, Mitch, where can the lovely people find you, my friend?
You can find me on Twitter at Mitch692 and also at ComicBookCast on YouTube. I can never remember the URL. I assume if you just Google ComicBookCast 2, it will come up and you can find us there.
Yes, indeed you can. And if things hold up the way they're supposed to, Travis and I will be on part of the audio commentaries for the Snyder Cut.
It's going to be fun. Because, of course, we're DLCing that movie, which is kind of ironic, but
you guys get to. You're not the studio, so that's okay. I don't blame you for that. Travis / Lexi, Lexi / Travis. Leshy. I'm making up names now.
Quasar.
Say words so that I can stop talking.
You want to go first? You want me to go first? You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Travis Political. Probably not talking that much. And you can find me streaming on Wednesdays on Twitch at BlackLeader439. Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We're playing more Pokemon this week. And maybe some Ghost of Tsushima. Depends if we die.
I'm looking forward to it. I very much enjoyed the first stream. It was a good time.
Which Pokemon is it?
Pokemon Emerald.
Oh, good choice. Good choice.
Yeah.
It's everyone's favorite.
It's so good.
You can find me.
Where?
Oh, thanks, Todd. You can find me on Twitter at LexiLion98 and Instagram at Acapella98. Don't ask me why they're different. Actually, I'll tell you. Because somebody stole Acapella98 on Twitter, and I've been waiting for them to stop using it for the last 5 years, and they haven't. So they are different. Anyway, Devin?
You can find me on Instagram at Devin J. Armel, and you can find me at on Twitter at DevinArmel1. So they're also different, but, it's all right. Jared, about yourself, my man.
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Dark Jedi.
Todd.
Thank Todd. You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Dark Jedi 2552. And you can find the Nerd Academy podcast on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and on our website, www.thenerdacademypodcast.com, where, if you're feeling generous, you can donate to our Patreon page. Speaking of our patrons, thank you to our $10 alumnus, Case and Breon, the Waffle Wizard, Delta 9, and Zach Canals. You guys help us make the content we love to produce. Check out the $5 tier if you're so inclined, where you can get access to our exclusive shows. We got the Versus series that ties into Knights of the Nerd Republic. Darth Malgus v. Kyle Katarn was March. Executor Cedrus versus the Grand Inquisitor in April. Travis and I have Heroic History 101 for February, technically, even though it was late. We covered Sam Wilson, Captain America, Volume 1, which, howdy do dandy if one of the characters from that hasn't already showed up in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Look at us being good at our job by accident. You can also check out our review of the Assembly of the Justice League and the New 52 coming out at the end of this month or the beginning of February, wherever it falls. But you'll be getting it nonetheless, as well as the audio commentary tie-ins for Nerd Academy Movie Club. Check out the student store. Get all the Nerd Academy podcast merch. Holy shit, I actually wore it for once because I forget to. But with that, thank you all so very much for listening. I can't find my cursor. Where is it? Thank you for listening. Another big thank you to Mitch for coming by 2 weeks in a row for some very big and fun reviews.
Thanks for having me again.
Hey, it is always a pleasure. Thank you all so very much for listening. And class dismissed.